I think we're all set. Hello, Maritime alumni family, and welcome to Maritime College Alumni Association's annual meeting, coming to you live from our alumni office on campus. Don't you love it? Please apologize if we're having some technical issues as we go through today. We hope to bring you a first-class event and look forward to a fun-filled time here presenting this live meeting. We realize that Homecoming 2020 isn't what you expected 1 year ago, but we do hope that we bring to you a bit of campus life and college memories in the comfort of the safety of your choosing. We hope you find the videos informative and enjoyable. To the reunion classes that had plans for the full pomp and circumstances of marching into St. Mary's Pentagon, we're working on plans to get you an opportunity at next year's homecoming, allowing you to share the day with your 2021 reunion classes as well. With this being our homecoming, I would like to take a moment to offer our thoughts of remembrance and prayers to our fellow alumni who've crossed the bar this past year. I hope you'll keep their memories in your hearts, as well as shared in your sea stories as we look forward to the future gatherings. I'll do my best to try to stay on script as we go along throughout the day here. Occasional ad lib, hopefully keep those to a minimum. During prior years, our Alumni Association conducted its annual meetings in conjunction with our annual awards dinner, traditionally held at the end of January. Last year, the annual meeting was moved to homecoming weekend to allow greater participation from our members and a more comprehensive presentation of association reporting. We found approximately 120 members participated in last year's annual meeting, solidifying the need to maintain the meeting date change. This was one of several bylaw changes that was voted upon by you, the membership, and passed most recently. With that, I would like to go ahead and introduce your 2020 Alumni Association Executive Board, Board of Directors, and staff. I'd like to present myself, John Valvo, President, Class of 1983. I believe with us we have Michael Brown, Class of 1982, First Vice President. Second Vice President, Sam Riley, Class of 95. Secretary, Anthony DeSimone, Class of 06. Treasurer, Kevin Comerford, Class of 1983. Our Assistant Treasurer, Anne Marie Bola, Class of 1998. Our Board of Directors, our board members, we have Victor Corso, Class of 1983. Marissa Danzi, Class of 2010. Kevin Danko, Class of 1996. Carl Hauscher, Class of 79. Leo Imperial, Class of 01. Phil Kantz, Class of 65. Ted Mason, Class of 57. Chris Nystrom, Class of 92. And Mike Trotta, Class of 99. Additionally, board members include Rear Admiral Michael L. Fultis and his representative, Doug Hasbro. Also like to point out, we have our, with me in our alumni office today, we have our alumni director, and we want to acknowledge we have our assistant, there's Syra right there, our assistant, Denise Tiernan. Denise is off campus right now and does a great job of helping things out. I want to take this moment that we have Mike Brown, Class of 82. We also want to take this moment to thank our outgoing magazine editor, Bridget Bendo, Class of 96. I believe Bridget's tenure with us in the magazine was about 12 years. So what a fabulous job Bridget had done for us. At the same time, we have we're uplifted with the newly hiring of magazine editor, Matt Bonvento, Class of 1, as well as graduate, his master's. What did he get? Of 03. Thank you. See, that's where we're going to do some ad libbing. We don't have everything down perfectly. Okay. Our next, we're going to be, so there I present to you the executive board and our board of directors for the Alumni Association for 2020. Going on with things, we want to go ahead and introduce our various committees chairs and for some of them to give a brief understanding of what they're doing. So with that, we have our membership committee chaired by Kevin Danko.
Good morning. Thank you, John. So as John mentioned, my name is Kevin Danko. I graduated as an electrical engineer in the engine program in class of 1995. The charter of this committee membership is outreach to our alumni. Two big major things that we've done recently is database merge with the college and getting all of our constituents together, so the membership, so that we can get a better idea of that. And then obviously that leads us to networking opportunities. So we're working on putting that all together and cleaning that up. The second big thing that we've done is committee videos to give our members a better idea of who the committee chairs are, and a little bit more detail than you'll get today on what the committees are doing. Thank you, John.
Next up for our committees, our scholarship committee led by First Vice President Mike Brown.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here. I am class of 1982. I was a nuclear science and marine engineering graduate. And really the charter of this scholarship committee is basically to coordinate with the school and select the top students for scholarship awards annually. Okay, particular items of point this year. Unfortunately, we didn't have the summer seat term this year, but normally what we do is we award between $220,000 to $250,000 to students, between 40 or 50 students a year to go towards this summer seat term annually. We were still busy this year, even though we didn't have cruises. We had the pierside training. We set up an award for approximately about $500 to $750 an attendee, which went to about 209 students that attended the 30-day pierside session. And then we set up the inaugural class of 1967 academic award, which would donate about $4,500 per cadet, and we had two deck and engine cadet, so that's $4,500 per each cadet for their overall academic performance. And then in addition, we set up the Sallyport Fund for the class of 67, which again it really espouses the virtues and of the Sallyport saying at the fort. So that went to two $500 awards to two cadets this year. So that's it, John. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Great job. Chairing up our chapters committees, we have Carl Hauscher. Not sure that Carl is on. Okay. Our nominating committee is headed up by Anne-Marie Bola. Do we have Anne-Marie on? Running our events, we have some sub-chapters as well. We have Kevin Danko. Kevin, give us a briefing on the events committee and what happens there, please.
Sure, thanks. The charter of the events committee is fostering networking amongst the alumni, increasing visibility and engagement with future alumni, and support the college and its development of our future alumni. So two big highlights. Obviously, we had a really successful Ancient Mariner yesterday. So that was a first time for us to get back together, the Ancient Mariner golf tournament, which we typically have at homecoming time. So we were able to do that. So that was a success, even though we did have some rain. And then obviously the other big one is hosting something like this, our virtual homecoming. So the goal here is to keep the spirit alive even during these challenging times. Thank you, John.
Okay, great. And within that, the events, we have some subcommittees there. Our honors committee headed up by Steve Carberry, as well as our golf committee headed up by AJ McAllister. Staying with, we're keeping Kevin Danko in the forefront there, go into our public relations committee. Kevin heads that up, and just a real brief there, Kevin, and we'll get over to talk about the magazine as well.
Sure. So the charter of the committees, this committee is standardizing and increasing our communications as a vehicle, as really a vehicle for membership outreach. The two big accomplishments we had most recently is rebranding to Maritime College Alumni Association. This is now consistent on our website, which we recently relaunched, our website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So we now have that commonality. And the goal there was just to make sure that everyone is well aware of where you are contacting and who it is you're contacting. So that, to standardize Alumni Association communications. Second thing is increased engagement with our members, fostering two-way communication channels. So we're working on the two-way communication ability to take some feedback from our alum. Thank you, John.
Great. And as I mentioned, we have with us Marissa Danzy, who is heading up one of the sub-chapters of the Public Relations, the magazine committee. Marissa, do you have something to say for us?
Sure. I'm Marissa Danzy, class of 2010, majored in marine engineering with a mechanical option and got my third assistant engineer's license. I am broadcasting live from the athletics building. You can see the bridge and the East River behind me. So what our committee does is the magazine subcommittee, we support the editor and the school in bringing two annual publications. It's a joint effort to the alumni and friends of the college. And typically these magazines will feature current events and any updates from the college, as well as industry and alumni features. And sometimes there'll be some announcements. A couple of highlights this year, of course, with the COVID pandemic going on, we thought it appropriate to feature some frontline alumni who are out there either working on ships or in industry, just making sure whatever they're doing to contribute to the efforts on the front line of COVID-19. As well as mention that our editor for several years, Bridget Bendo, did step down, and we thank Bridget for all of her service, and we welcome Matt Bonvento as the new editor of the magazine. Thank you, John.
Great job, Marissa. Thank you very much. Heading up our finance committee, we have our treasurer, Kevin Comerford. Kevin, you want to give us a briefing on the finance committee, please?
Sure, John. I'm Kevin Comerford, class of 83. We have 5 members of the committee: Sam Riley, 95, Anne Marie Bola, 98, Ted Mason, 57, Vic Corso, 83, and I'm class of 83. I'm an engineering major. Basically, what we do with the finance committee is we oversee the operations budget, which is typically managed by the treasurer. We make sure everything's up and up with it, and we take a look at the funds and management of the funds. We want to ensure that the fund money is properly invested and that the scholarships are awarded per the MOUs and in a timely fashion. I did make one of the videos that Kevin Danko mentioned, committee videos, which has a lot more details as to the function of the finance committee. That's it.
Great, thank you very much, Kevin. Great job. Take a look and see, we have a legal committee headed up by Jennifer Barnes Hayes. I don't know that Jennifer is on. We also have an audit committee headed up by Anthony DeSimone, our secretary. Yes, Anthony, you coming up?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead and say hi to everybody, Anthony. You're on.
Hello, I'm in transit right now. I'm Anthony DeSimone, class of 2006. I majored in marine engineering with a mechanical concentration. I also got my U.S. Coast Guard third assistant engineer license. I'm the chair of the audit committee. The audit committee charter is to ensure that the association is operating in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. It ensures that we're above water with all of our financial statements and that we're operating with financial integrity. We just finished up the 2019 audit, and the auditors determined that we were in compliance with all necessary regulations and rules, and had some recommendations for moving forward. And going forward, we're going to be moving towards setting up some more cybercrime prevention policies and capabilities. So that's what's to come. Thank you.
Great, Anthony. Thank you very much. Doing a great job there. One of our newest committee that we'll let everybody know about is our All Hands on Deck committee. That is being chaired by Anne Marie Bola. We formed this committee to address the the issue of diversity and inclusion within our alumni association, and to see if there's any kind of guidance that we can offer for graduates that are out there. So we want to make sure that we as an association are upholding our end of the bargain when it comes to fully inclusion all graduates, be it for the whether they will go through the regiment program, the civilian program, whether they're race, black, white, yellow, brown, whether they be LGBT, whether they be a religion. The biasing is not acceptable within our association, and we want to be able to drive that. So we have a formation of all hands on deck committee. That committee is staffed with some of the members that you've seen here, as well as we have a non-board member, a participant in that, Bridget Cooney, doing a great job helping out with that as she checks in with us while she's out at sea. So there you have our committees as represented by the association. So hopefully you got a little bit more insight into what's going on there and as we go forward. Moving along with our agenda, at this point in time, I'd like to go ahead and introduce the president of the college, Admiral Michael L. Fultis, who's joining us off campus. And Admiral, if you're out there, we have him there somewhere. As I mentioned, please forgive us for any kind of technical snafus we may come up with here.
I'm here, John. Just give me a sec.
No problem.
There we go.
Hey, hello, my friend.
Morning, everybody. Glad to be here. My wife says afternoon. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be here. Just John asked for me to provide a quick update on how things are going at the college from my perspective. So I'll try to be brief so you can get on with your festivities. First of all, again, about the peer side training. Again, from my perspective, what was important there was we were able to provide 30 days of valuable training. Very important actually for the third class who, again, did not get their mud cruise to spend 30 days on the ship and become more familiar with the ship. Certainly will benefit them next year when they finally get to make up their mud cruise next summer. We did test all the cadets the first week of peer side training. We did have 5 positives that first week. We obviously implemented our containment protocols and quarantine protocols. The good news was in the remaining weeks of peer side training, as we continued testing, we had no positives after that. And really, from my perspective, what that was a big boost to the entire college community that we can bring the students back on campus so we can safely operate in this COVID environment. And we really can have good health and safety protocols in place that prevent the spread of the virus on campus. So it was a real big boost to the cadets, the faculty and staff that, yes, we can do this. I do want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to the Alumni Association for providing the much needed financial assistance. You know, many of these students, you know, were not able to work this summer. Their families had financial situations that didn't, you know, that were very difficult. So that financial assistance was key. And we did acknowledge and bring the John and members of the Alumni Association board to a morning formation in the final days of peer side training to publicly thank them and acknowledge them in front of all the cadets that of the important assistance that the Alumni Association provided them. So that was great. So moving on to the fall semester, while other SUNY campuses have had a decline in enrollment of 10% or more, our enrollment actually is very close to where it was last year. So we're very pleased where we are from a total enrollment perspective. I will say, similar to the other state maritime academies, we are seeing a shift towards the non-licensed programs. We're currently about 60% licensed and about 40% non-licensed. Currently, about 2/3 of our classes have some sort of face-to-face component. And you heard students are really enjoying being back on campus. All the students I talked to would much rather be on campus than studying in their mom and dad's basement or their mom and dad's dining room table. So they're really enjoying that. We are testing all faculty, staff, and students once per month. We're testing, our goal is to test about 500 people per week. The good news is we've only had 3 positives to date. So we're certainly doing a good job with our health and safety protocols. We will shift to remote instruction after Thanksgiving strictly as a preventive measure. By all accounts, the virus will probably pick up in activity after Thanksgiving. In addition, we have the issue of students who are in states on the New York State Travel Advisory, who if they went home for Thanksgiving would have to quarantine for 2 weeks when they came back. So it would just be beneficial if we just go remote right after Thanksgiving. We are going to allow the students to return back to campus. So even though we're going to be a remote instruction, the students can all come back, stay in the dorms. We'll provide dining services. They can continue to study together, do their end of semester projects together, prepare for finals together. So we'll still have students. I'm thinking we're going to have probably almost half the students are probably going to return after Thanksgiving. So again, they'd rather be on campus than be with their mom and dads. Sorry, mom and dad. We are currently planning, making plans for the spring semester and development. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts right now, but we are starting to make our plans for the spring semester. As far as the traineeship update, let me see if I can share it. Nope. As far as the traineeship update, the new traineeship is on schedule. That's the good news. We will, the Philadelphia shipyard will be starting fabrication in mid-December. So we'll be going down hopefully for a great ceremony mid-December as they cut the first steel. This is a modular construction. So once they start fabrication, they'll start constructing the modules. They'll lay the keel in January of 2022. They'll start assembling the modules on the keel. The hull will be completed in April of 2022. The superstructure will be completed in May of 2022, and they'll be launched in June of 2022. They're estimating a delivery, ready for delivery in either late December 22 or January 2023. For the engineers, it is a diesel electric propulsion plant. For those who are concerned about the not being steam, I will say again, we are renovating the non-functional marine engineering lab to provide with a brand new state-of-the-art boiler and to provide both high and low pressure steam training. And that project will be done by December of 2021, well before Empire State is decommissioned and the new ship arrives. Then finally, I am very hopeful that the campus will return to some state of new normal in fall of 2021, and that we'll be able to once again host homecoming festivities, face-to-face homecoming festivities on campus in fall of 2021. So John, that's my report. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Admiral. And that's exactly what we're looking for, is that high note at the end. Hopeful for 2021, we'll be able to get everybody together.
Yes, sir.
Do is hope for the best.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you supporting us through all of this time. Okay, with that, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of our annual report, our annual meeting. Please stay with me as I try to give you a dissertation of the activities that have taken place for 2020 and where we're going from here. So we started the year with our annual awards dinner, where we came together to honor our own. We acknowledged the Distinguished Alumni of the Year, Bart Kelleher, class of '96. Dedicated Service Award for Bill Trenkle, class of 1980. And a Lifetime Achievement Award for Gary Jobson, class of '73. All three fine, upstanding graduates right there, dedicated alumni, no finer people right there. Then came the pandemic, and everything went into a tizzy. We learned all about masks, different variations of masks, cancellations of all the great plans that we had. What do they say? The best laid plans, right, Syra? All the great plans that we had. Our spring networking canceled. New alumni night canceled. Our on-campus spring fling, our first opportunity to get involved with that, canceled. May commencement, live, canceled, virtual, went ahead. Annual golf outing, one of our largest fundraisers right there, a key cornerstone of our fundraising efforts, canceled. 8 efforts there. However, we rose to the occasion and we learned all about the word virtual. So what have we been doing in this world of virtual? We've reconfigured our website, well needed refurbishment, refreshing, going after a more friendly environment on the website, as well as the tying in a much better connection with the various chapters that we have across the country, giving each chapter the opportunities to participate, do their postings, and let everybody know, giving one source of location for information to be housed. Our board of director meetings went viral. issuance of video summaries following each of those board meetings. We do listen to you. The criticisms that came in were resounding about letting people know what's going on, looking for the transparency, better communications. That's been a driving motivation of this past year, trying to get word out to you, the members, as to what's going on behind the scenes and all of the hard work that's going on. Full transparency. That's what we've been shooting for, to try to get out to you. We've been trying to utilizing the social media methods of getting all that information out. Board members' videos, getting them some, recording board member videos, getting those posted out there. To date, I believe we have Marissa Danzy, we have Kevin Comerford. I believe we're getting ready to roll out the scholarships with Mike Brown. Trying to get all of our board of directors out there for you, the members, to see and acknowledge and know who all of those individuals are that are representing you, all of the members. We, with the lack of being able to have the in-person new alumni night for the graduating class of 2020, we morphed into a virtual mentorship program. So there we were bringing alumni and graduating students together through this same virtual environment, offering advice, trying to determine where are they headed for, what have they been doing, and try to guide them on as they come out into the working world to pursue their careers. As an outgrowth of that, we had 2 of the students receive job offers and accepted, and they were put in employ as a result of that virtual mentoring. So great results happening there. The cancellation of summer C term, significant blow to the students, the school. When you're running a college curriculum that is virtually 12 months out of the year and we're losing that, you can see the challenges that the school has with trying to get that makeup time out on the ship. But being as creative as they can be, they morphed into peer-side training. Great way for the school, the college, and the ship program to adapt to the current situations. Peer-side training had a participation of, I believe, 207 or 212 students partaking in the 30-day course. As was mentioned, the Alumni Association stepped up to the bar. We took a look at our current funds. Now we need, and you'll hear from our treasurer, Kevin Comerford. Our funds are targeted for certain by various donors on what they want to do with those. So we were able to go back in and diligently look through our memorandum of understandings of our funds, determining which funds provided the latitude to be awarded as scholarships, not directly tied to a summer C term. And in that means, we were able to accumulate through those funds, as well as some supplemental funding contributions, $120,000 to go towards this training program. Fantastic. So when you take a look at it, every student received a $500 credit scholarship from the Alumni Association. On a $2,000 peer-side training tuition bill, 25% taken care of by the Alumni Association. In addition to that, those showing a financial need, we were able to give an additional $500 out there. And I believe that was about another 25 or 30 students as well. So great stuff right there. So you saw that in some instances, some students receive 50% scholarship. I do need to point out the SUNY Foundation, headed up by Bob Johnston, class of '69, also contributed to that event as well. So trying to do the best that we can, all coming together, like-minded, take care of these students, get them through some of this hardship time with the capabilities that is within our means. So, and that's a result of you, the members, supporting us, giving us the responsibility to judiciously get that monies out to them. So thank you very much for all of that. A resounding success. In the dialogue of scholarships, as you heard, scholarship chairperson Mike Brown mentioning, we had our peer-side training support, which we contributed to. In addition to that, we have some of the yearly scholarships that are not tied to the summer C term. We have the Charles Balancia class 56 award that goes to an incoming freshman, which was made to one of the students coming in. we had the inaugural class of 67 academic scholarship for one deck, one engineering program student coming in. So great stuff that we're continuing to be able to support the needs, the financial needs of these students as they go through. Okay. Maintaining the virtual aspect of things, we began virtual chapter presidents meetings. So that's become a monthly activity there for all of the various chapters. And give me a moment, I've got a listing of our chapters. And if you don't know, I'll just do a quick rundown of what we've got. Our Carolinas chapters is headed up by Marianne Sanderson, class of 95. We have our New Jersey chapter headed up by Jamie McNamara, class of 94. Our Delaware Valley chapter headed up by Art Sulzer. Hampton Roads headed up by Ryan Cook, class of 16. Our Houston chapter, Mike Flood, class of 2011. We do have a Con Edison chapter headed up by Zen Shao, class of 2000. Our Northeast Florida chapter with Matt Arnold helping out down there. Then we have some other locations that are working together to get chapters. And if you're in these geographic zones, maybe you can try to reach into, if you want to get into CIRA-U, reach out and we can get you in touch with some of these people and see if you can't help out in building some of these chapters. And that leads us to Southern California with Dennis Brennan, class of 64. Western New York, we've got Doug Buell, class of 2000. Southeast Florida, Jeff Perlstein, class of 81. The Baltimore, DC area with George Molyneux, class of 90. Then we do have a full chapter with the Long Island chapter of, Jim Yanner is helping out with coordinating efforts there. Jim, class of 86. And for New England, Robert Rose, pardon with some of the technical stuff. And up in New England, Robert Rose, class of 85, is stepped up to the bar to lend a helping hand to try to bring that chapter together and more formalize things for that large territory that he's got there. So our goal here as the Alumni Association is to help bring alumni together. And through these chapters, that's where the growth is going to be. And that's where the knowledge is. We're not centrally located. We're not looking to try to concentrate in the Metro New York area. That's where we all came out of, the Bronx right here. Hence the preponderancy to be based out of here. But we extend nationally and globally, as we all know. That's where we are. That's where we want to get to be. We want to be able to reach all of those alumni and do what we can to help out the fellow alumni. This year, with the climate change throughout the country and had its own effects here at Fort Schuyler, we were invited to participate along with Captain Robert Cook and the Organization of Black Maritime Graduates, along with the Student Coalition for Change, and as well as the college, for addressing inclusion and diversity issues here on campus for current students and some recent graduates. As such, you may be seeing the college has enacted a leading change program, which actually got kicked off earlier this week. And hence, as I mentioned earlier, the own formation of the Alumni Association, creating the All Hands on Deck committee, where we are looking to strive to make sure that as we go forward with our various events, we are there open to make sure that we have address our issues of inviting all to participate. With our events, I do have some fantastic news that yesterday we were successful in hosting our Ancient Mariner golf outing. Mother Nature tried to dampen things, and she did quite a bit. But we did get a successful golf outing out. I could tell you, if everybody just played one holes, it was a success right there. Just seeing everybody come together safely in masks, the golf carts with the partitions, everything was done appropriately, precautions taken all throughout. But you could just see the the smiles under those masks just coming out, with people just being able to see, to talk, and to get past this film screen of all this virtual that we're needing to deal with. So sellout attendance, even though the rain came along, everything was great. As we go forward here, we're going to be morphing into a few things, but on each of my, if you will, cue cards that I have, I wanted to make known I have the one word, membership, on top of it. Please, please, please take a look and see whether or not you've got yourself current with our membership. We do utilize those dues to help keep the organization running, and it's dependent upon those dues coming in. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, let me check my agenda here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to our treasurer, Kevin Comerford. Kevin is going to issue us the financial reporting for the year. And if you're there, Kevin, you can take it away.
I am here. You got me, John?
You got it.
Okay, this is your annual treasurer's report required by the bylaws. And I'm Kevin Comerford, the treasurer, class of '83, engineering graduate. I also have an MBA from Monmouth University. Okay, so this year was a very, we had a lot of mixed results this year, as you can well imagine. We got good news and bad news. Good news is the market continues to grow, and we're making a significant amount of money with our funds. The bad news, of course, is operations. So why don't I just go right to the, we'll start with the good news. We'll talk about the funds. Doug, do you have that, those slides? Okay, so Fiduciary Trust manages our endowment. And right now we're sitting on $11,019,633 in these funds. We started the year with, let's see. We started 2019 with $7,844,000. We ended 2019 with $9,852,000. That's a 25.6% increase in 2019. We started 2020, as I said, ended 2019, same thing, $9,852,000. Presently, we're at $11,019,000. We've got 11.8% growth this year alone. That's in 9.5 months. That's $1,167,000. Just to keep it in perspective, it's almost all market growth. In 2019, we had $174,000 added to the fund, and in 2020, we had $64,000 added to the fund. So we added $64,000, and we're up 1.1, almost $1.2 million. That's very good. Next slide. Next slide. One more. Perfect. All right, so let's, no, back, no, one more. That's good. Let's talk about this. This is what I got from Fiduciary Trust. If you look at the graph in the top left, that is your global equity performance in 2020. So, and if the box on the right, the red box you see is the third quarter. So you got your first quarter started well, then it dropped significantly. Then you had a pretty good increase in second quarter, and you got stability in the third quarter. So specifically, the S&P 500 showed a 20% decline in the first quarter, followed by a 20% rally in the second quarter, followed by a 9% index return in the S&P 500 in the third quarter, which brought us back to new all-time highs. We did not panic and kept our allocations intact. The second and third quarter 30% rally marks the strongest 6-month performance for the index since 2009. The health crisis, of course, is far from over. Markets have recovered all early year losses as it's become increasingly apparent the worst of the economic disruption from the pandemic and related lockdowns looks to be behind us. I'm certainly hoping. Positive economic data was apparent late in the second quarter, and the fundamental momentum continues into the third quarter as the economic data continues to surprise to the upside. The US economy added a significant amount of jobs in the quarter. The consumer economy also appears to be seeing a V-shaped recovery, with retail sales recovering to all new highs in July and August, though services spending continues to be below prior levels. We're mindful of potential risks to the V-shaped recovery. Has the economy reached a plateau? The fiscal stimulus, when, another one, how much, unknown. COVID-19, are we entering another period of accelerated cases and another lockdown? Question mark, we don't know. And then of course you have the election coming up. Blue wave, landslide, contested election, again, we don't know. there are risks. So take a look at the bottom of this graph. You've got validation, moderation, and agitation. We'll discuss that a little bit. Validation. Economic data released in the third quarter validated that the market snapback that occurred in the second quarter was a result of monetary and fiscal policy, virus containment, and potential economic reopening. Moderation. Third quarter saw moderation of company returns, growth remaining as the driver of returns, but leveling off with the economy. Market in the third quarter, which again, look at that red box up there, began to flatten. The acceleration began to moderate as a result of continued future uncertainties. And that brings us to the agitation bullet. Agitation. Investors' concerns focus on waning fiscal stimulus, dampened recovery momentum, election issues, or a second wave of the virus. So let's go to the next slide. One more. So that's it. Thanks. This is one fund. We have a lot of funds, and I took one. This is actually the fourth largest one. Our funds run from Dondera, which has about 5 million in it, to Tody, which has under 10,000. So this fund has about $639,000 in it. So I just use this as an example. Our funds are basically distributed very similar. 66% equity. You got 49.2% large cap, 3% small cap, 10% international, 3.4 emerging markets. We've got 26% in fixed income, which is going to be your taxable bonds. And then we've got some cash, 7.7 in short-term cash. Our performance compared to the S&P 500 can be attributed to our large cap growth exposure, which has a bias towards technology. That technology is doing very well, and we're in it pretty heavily. So we're pleased with that. We raised our cash in September from 5.7% to 7.7%. That was a recommendation from the finance committee, and John, our president, and our board, we discussed it. This giving us a little more cash is going to, with the unknowns, COVID, the election, the economy, we felt this gave us a little more protection if there's any volatility in the future. Let's go to the next slide, please. This one didn't come out. We're missing a lot of lines, but this is the same fund, and I'll fill in the lines. This is a 3-year trend. In September 30th, 2017, we were at 499. We've been going up and up and up. Presently, in September 30th, 2020, we're at 639,000. There was not a lot of money added or taken out of this fund. We did add $15,000 to the fund when we merged it from a different fund, and we took out in scholarship money about $7,000. So we started at 499, we're up to 639. That's in 3 years, and that's with very little in or out. It's almost equal. It's almost even what went in and out. So that's what I got on the funds. We're finished with those slides. Let's see. What do we do with these funds? Right now, we're taking the interest and dividends out of these funds, and we're using it for summer C-term scholarships, which that didn't happen this year. So as John discussed, we contributed quite a bit of money to the Pearside program. And we couldn't take all of our money dedicated for the summer C-term because we do have the MOUs we have to follow up. The MOU says the money's going towards, it has to go to SST. If the donor said he wants his money going to SST, we can't dedicate that money to Pearside. So that's good. We do have some smaller scholarships, as John discussed. We have the Valencia, we have the Sallyport, class of 67, class of 46 Tomb Series. So in reference to the funds, we've given a total since 2004, we've donated $3,305,444 to the students at Maritime College, which is a significant amount of money. And we do expect that our numbers, we're going to change our formulas, how we're dedicating money to the SST. We'll probably change it next year. Presently, we're taking interest and dividends, and that money goes to the SST scholarships. Interest is very low these days. So we're going to probably change our calculation and our formula on where we get the money for the SST. And that will help the school and the cadets and the students. In 2019, December 2019, we did merge a few funds. Presently, we have 35 funds. That's a lot to manage. We took 7 funds, older funds that have had no money contributed to them in the recent future. They had identical MOUs, so we merged them into one new 7 fund. That drops us down to 28 funds, easier to manage. We did track how much money we put into these funds, percentage-wise. So if someone should call and say, how much is in the fund that I set up 30 years ago, we'll have an answer for them. We will continue to know those percentages. Paycheck Protection Program. We did apply for a Small Business Association loan at Small Business Administration. We did receive $16,231 for the organization. We have to fill out the paperwork to get that loan forgiven. We don't expect that will be a problem, but we do have the money. Let's see. We did our audit. We just completed our audit. That went very well. Condon, O'Meara, McGinty, and Donnelly, LLP, audited our financial statements from 2019 and expressed that our books are in good order, and they found no significant deficiencies. Also good news. Let's see, what else do we have? The key here, if you go through the money, well, let me just run through the events real quick. The annual dinner we had, as John mentioned, went very well. We made a profit of $57,000. That was the last event we had this year, other than up until yesterday with the golf. Our Spring Golf Classic, which typically brings in about $80,000 in profit, was canceled. That clearly hurts our operation budget. Spring and fall networking events are happening virtually. They weren't happening. Homecoming, we're looking at it. No students, virtual only. Our revenue is down. Gross revenue for 2020 is projected to be down about 35% on the year. Monthly operating expenses have really not gone down that much. We're spending $9,000 a month on salaries, rent, and consultants, etc. We're figuring about a $50,000 loss on the year. That's ballpark right now. That's a lot of money. And how do we? Where are we down? We're down other than the events. Dues, total dues, year-end dues. 2018, $70,740. 2019, $81,000. Presently, we're at $14,900, $15,000. You may see that's somewhat COVID related, but if you go back to January 1st to February 28th, 2018, we had $31,004. 2019, we had $32,007. 2020, we had $7,000. Now let's bump that up a month. January to March 31st, 2018, $35,000, 2019, $36,000, 2020, $7,270. We lost a lot of dues money the first quarter of this year, and we're not really making much up. We're down in dues right now I'd say between $55,000 and $65,000. So we really want you to consider paying your dues. If you have never paid before, join the organization. What can the organization do for you? Kevin Dank will discuss that more, but just to give you a story for me, my point of view, I did 10 years at sea. And then when I came ashore, I got hooked up with, I was out of work 5 months. I was with Exxon, and they pretty much laid the fleet off. They got rid of the fleet after the Valdez hit the rocks. And, I was about 5 months out of work. Unemployment runs out in 6. I had 2 kids. And my wife's like, you got to call the alumni. This isn't working out. So I called a gentleman from the class of 78, and I said, look, I've been out of work. He goes, how long? I said, 5 months. And he just started yelling at me. He goes, you got 2 kids. You can't be out of work 5 months. Hired me the next day. Put me on a couple of ships that were coming back from the Persian Gulf War, getting them ready for decommissioning to put them up the river. And I was working for him for about 6 weeks. And he said, look, this other guy at Montefiore is looking for an engineer with your talents. So I go to Montefiore, and he sits there and he calls me in. He pretty much hired me over the phone, and because I gave my qualifications, and I went to work for him, and then he put the roster, which is the roster. Remember, the older guys remember from years ago, was the book with all the alumni in it, the paid alumni. And he put the book in front of me and says, here, this is the roster. You're not in it. And I said, no. He goes, you're not a paid member of the Alumni Association. He goes, that's the only reason you're sitting here in his desk, in his office. and he says, "You pay your dues." And that was in 1993. And I've been paying my dues every year since. And it's a good organization, and we need the dues that, maybe in the future we have some ideas that we can get rid of the dues. We would need a large donor, a fund set up so that our operation money can come out of that self-sustaining fund. But we're not there yet, and we need membership and we need dues. And we're down quite a bit this year, so time to start stepping it up. And that's what I got, John.
Great, Kevin. Thanks a lot. Great report. And as Kevin mentioned there, that so it's a lot to be managing with all of those funds. And please understand, as Kevin pointed out, it's the consolidation for paperwork on all of those funds really is directed a lot toward the auditing process. Our auditing takes an exorbitant amount of time because the auditors need to go through all those funds, and we were advised that simplistically making that consolidation could help speed up that process and move things along. But as Kevin points out, we do have, we've made note of what the contributions are percentage-wise for each of those, the subsequent funds that went into that, so that we can maintain where the performance of the individual contributors that went into that. So thank you very much. Now for your pleasure is a recap of some insight into our membership committee as headed up by Kevin Danko. We have Kevin ready to go. I'm not ready to do shadow puppets. So.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, John. We can get my slide. What I basically wanted to just go through is people often ask, what is it that we're getting for your dues? And so we had sent this out a little while ago, but we thought we'd just review it again here. So there's a few things, and we tried to give you somewhat of a pie chart of what the dues are getting. So first, I'll just start right around the horn. There's administration. Obviously, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and there are little things that people just don't think about. Our ability to pay for internet things that are potentially are not even that sexy, but certainly are necessary for us to keep moving. The administration of scholarships, certainly a very big one. That's the biggest thing that we're doing in our give back to the college. So it helps make sure that funds are directed and awarded in the ways that the classes who sponsored those want to designate them. Events, obviously, that's another thing. I mentioned this earlier in my events chapter or the events committee recap, but obviously there are costs that are required for us to manage these events. And part of that, again, is trying to bring the alumni together for camaraderie and obviously success, sharing the successes of the college. Marissa actually told you about the Fort Schuyler magazine. So obviously there's costs that are related to that. And again, another way for us to keep you involved, keep you engaged. Those are all the things that are part of that. And then just the final piece here is the membership database, keeping you connected with this network and making sure that we have that accessible for you. And I think Kevin just made a great example. So when you need a job, tapping back into that membership that you have. And the membership database is a key part of it, allowing you to kind of get an idea of where do people work in the industries that you're looking for. And then a first reach out to someone who's gone to the college, who knows what it took for you to go to the college. So those are the things I would strongly encourage. And I know John has mentioned it to you multiple times to please, if you have not gotten a chance to look at your membership, please go ahead and do that. If you look at we've provided a link for you right here in the live post that you're watching on Facebook. So you can go ahead and hit that link. And right now what we're doing is we're running a special. So that special allows you to renew your membership for the remainder of 2020, as well as give you membership for the entirety of 2021. We did that last year around homecoming time, and we're able to get a lot of new members. and getting people invigorated. Obviously, I'll point out too that it is important for you to renew your membership so that you have voting rights as we come to our next board election cycle. We're coming to a major election cycle, but also our board election cycle. So again, just a quick update on what membership does, so you have an idea that your dollars, every dollar that you submit here does go into action, and certainly appreciated, not only by me, but by everybody. So I appreciate you. Thanks so much, John.
All right, Kevin, thanks a lot. Membership committee, membership drives, increasing membership, it's a constant. We're running down toward the end of our structured annual meeting. At this point in time, let me see where I'm at. Let me start heading to some closing points. Try and take care of the glare behind me here. We do have a few questions, a few Q&A that I'm going to want to get to. Before I do get to the Q&A, I do want to make a few things that we are looking forward to that we have here. Number one, we are going into our own organizational election season, and our election committee, our nomination committee chair, Emery Bola. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to join us today live. She's going to be posting out some information on getting in nominations and that process, and all of the appropriate particulars in dealing with that. Some wonderful news that I have to announce to you are the names of the honorees for our 2021 awards. So for all of you watching, here's the announcement. Our 2021 alumni honorees. Alumnus of the Year, we have Griffin Lynch, class of 1988. Congratulations, Griffin. Lifetime Achievement Award, Jim Starace, class of 1981. Again, congratulations. We have our special recognition alumni, Mike Toner, class of 65. All three upstanding individuals. Spoke with them. They're just excited as anything. This is great stuff. What that our annual alumni awards dinner is going to look like. Right now, we have our plans for Tribeca 360, the end of January. As everybody knows, that remains to be seen. We will be looking at our plan B, which anybody can guess would be virtual. We're hoping that we can be able to bring people together, but safety does come first. And that is going to be the main driver for ensuring that we can recognize these individuals in a respectful manner while still maintaining safety and not compromising and putting anybody in harm's way. Additionally, to let everybody know that we have formed a search committee for an executive director to be based on campus full-time. Kevin Comerford is heading that up, and we have full expectations of getting that position filled such that we will have full-time representation here in the Alumni Association office to help drive things in that direction. So with that, we're going to go into a couple of questions that we had come in. Let me just check my notes for a second here. Okay. I think we did receive questions concerning the issuance of the voting for the bylaws. So a quick recap. The voting process goes out to all members in good standing, which is paid members. They receive that information through a constant contact email. So the email notification goes out to the paid members with appropriate email addresses, and everything is cross-checked there. At that point in time, we utilize the service of SurveyMonkey in order to collect all the various information. So individuals that are members in good standing receive the notification, and then they have a link to go on to the SurveyMonkey. At that point in time, SurveyMonkey requires them to say, add your email address to be part of SurveyMonkey, in which case then you continue to do the voting. We did receive some feedback that I don't want to be part of the SurveyMonkey. That's unfortunately, that's the program that we have set up in order to make that happen. I don't know any of the particulars of why one would not want to be, pursuing that, but that's a requirement. That's what's going to be needed in order to get the voting process to happen. So several of the bylaw changes were more of a procedural. One of them being, as I mentioned earlier, the moving of our annual meeting, which in our bylaws states that it is conducted at the time of the annual awards dinner. A consensus was made through the board of directors that the participation of members, as well as the information being able to be presented in a, if you will, an abridged annual meeting just prior to an awards dinner, there was a few issues involved with that. Number one was the participation, and there was almost an association that in order to go to the meeting, you needed to buy the ticket for the dinner, which is not the case, but one could put that together there. The second being that the information to be able to present it at a meeting is limited to all verbal, graphics, presentations, things like that were not able to be taken place. And the participation itself, people trying to run just to make it for the dinner. Gee, I'll pass on the meeting. I'll make it for the dinner. So last year being the first year of holding the alumni annual meeting during homecoming, resounding success, more personable, more one-on-one. We wish we could be doing that again this year. We're trying to do the next best thing, and what you're experiencing here is what we've got. We hope that this is a one and done for doing homecoming, but we'll work off of lessons learned and make improvements as we go forward, needing to utilize the virtual media. So that was one of the things there that people wanted to know, some of the behind the scenes. The format that we presented the resolutions for the bylaws required some understanding. Some people not having the ability to, prior to logging on through that Survey Monkey to see, wanted some more information about, well, what's all of this about with all of this? It was contained within the voting block, but you needed to get through that Survey Monkey. So once we had that dialogue explaining to them, if you get into the Survey Monkey, you'll see what it's all about, the dissertation of why there were some of these changes that were being needed. Some of those bylaw changes were a result of the timing of, as we just mentioned, the election process and the nomination process. We just changed the calendars to flow more with what our full networking and nomination meetings were all about. As I mentioned, Anne-Marie Bola will be getting out information through, I believe, through a video as well as written, for what the steps will be for, and the timelines and the dates for getting nominations in. I think so. We had some bylaw changes. There were some questions. Obviously, we did get a lot of grammatical questions on our bylaws for the appropriate gender personing in that all being taken care of by, again, we mean no offense to anybody. We want to take care of things and clean things up as we go along. There were some questions related to some of the changes of requiring some time, a year of being on the board of directors before going for a few of the, if you will, key positions in the executive board. There's a lot going on, and it was consistently felt that through the board of directors that time needed to be spent to understand the lay of the land of what was going on before filling some of these roles. So that had been a bylaw resolution that had been in the wings for about a year and a half, I believe, or so, before it finally made its way out for the vote. We had that. A question did come in on increasing the membership and what are some of the things that we're looking to do. Kevin Danko gave a presentation on some of the things that current membership has, and we are looking at, through our membership committee, looking at additional deliverables as part of the association. Now, one of the mainstays is the networking capability and the ability to track things down. Those are all being improved upon and expanded upon. Also looking at, with our renewed relationship with the college and our ability to be here on campus, like you're seeing here, trying to bring into the fold some of the events and activities that are taking place on campus with Alumni Association involvement and extending that out to our members. So we do know that we need to go ahead and step things up quite a bit to make all of that happen. Anything, how we doing with things?
We do have a couple of questions received by email.
Okay,
we
so
want to address.
yeah, go ahead.
How do we best connect with the chapter in our area?
Okay, so chapters. As I had previously mentioned, the chapters are going to be the backbone of our alumni organization as we go forward, in my view. That's what's out there. That's the growth. That's what it is. That's the, if you will, in the trenches out there with the fellow members. Currently, right now, if you're in a geographic location, you can reach out to the director, Syra Yu, and find out based upon your geographic location who that individual might be. If you go to our website, you will see each of the pages is dedicated to the chapters. So if you want to take it on your own and go there, you'll see who the chapter representative is for all of those, and you can click on there and reach out to them. And we're looking forward to new chapters as well. You betcha. That's where it is. That's what it's all about, growth. We encourage you to assimilate yourself with one of these local chapters. On a administrative note, early on in the presentation, I made mention of our refurbished website, if you will. Along with that is a new domain name?
Yes.
Maritime College AA. You know us all. The prior domain name of fsmaa.org is still valid and will get over to us. But on the, if you will, on the name recognition, the Maritime College AA.org is the new, that's what we've got. So you can reach Syra, the director at maritimecollegeaa.org, myself, president at maritimecollegeaa.org, our treasurer, Kevin Comerford, treasurer at maritimecollegeaa.org. Okay, so a couple of options for you there. Reach out to any one of us, go onto the website itself, see if there's a chapter that seems to align with your geographic location. If not, come on, get that inquiry in, and maybe you'll be the one to start that next chapter.
Another inquiry, where can we voice our comments and or concerns with board operations?
Okay, basically, how do we get criticism into the board? Okay, just gave you the same information, the emails right there. Copy right into direct. Let's understand the structure that we have. You have myself as the president. I'm here at your will based upon being elected in. We have Cyrus here as a paid director. She's the entity that is here, that's the constant. So making sure that you get both entities involved, copied, you're covering your bases. So if it's something administratively that Syra can take care of, fine. If there's something that you're disgruntled with the way that the board is running operations, go ahead and get that over to me. Having that role as president, the buck stops here with responsibilities. I understand it, and that's the way that it goes. So we're doing all that we can to try to do our best to deal with the current times. It's extremely challenging to promote camaraderie when everything is distance and is going against you. So you have criticisms. It would be wonderful if they're good constructive and positive criticisms, but we do understand some of the negatives. And we had been listening to some of those negatives, and we think that we're addressing quite a few of them and working our way forward.
Okay, I have someone asking, what involvement do we have with the student population, non-ship board or regiment?
So currently right now, as I mentioned to you, currently right now it's limited, okay? Hence why we need to be on site full-time. And that's why we're going in that direction, full-time on site, looking for that with that search committee going out there, okay? We do know that we need to be tapping into the current student body in total, both through the regiment program as well as through the civilian program. Okay, graduating, coming out of this fine institution with a degree, you're a graduate, you're alumnus. Doesn't matter whether you went through the regimental program, the licensing program, civilian program. Okay, I would say that if I could just take a moment and acknowledge the recent loss of our fellow former board member, Jim Nordman. What a great guy. Jim was class of 75.
Yes.
I believe Jim was class of 75. Jim was non-regiment.
Yes.
Okay. What a great guy Jim was. And all of his years serving on the board was great. So I apologize, but we have some. Is it vibrant? Is it vibrant? No, it is not. We are trying to increase our participation. However, we're dealing with the pandemic situation. So all of the best laid plans that we had at the beginning of the year, being involved with various clubs, the cultural club, participating in some of its meetings to make them know that, understand that we as the Alumni Association are here if there's any way that we can help support them. Some of the boating clubs, but it's not taking place. So it's challenging. We know that we need to improve that.
Okay, since the merge between the college and association, what have you seen as benefits to the association?
Okay, question coming in on the merge and the benefit. The major benefit is, as we mentioned, the access to the students, okay? Prior to it, when we had the separation, it was extremely limited. Now we're back on campus and that's where we're heading to. We need to seize that opportunity as the association to go ahead and be there. As you saw, it was mentioned and had some publicity back in August, the peer-side training, our involvement of being at formation with the students, being able to get the acknowledgement, getting in front of them the words Maritime College Alumni Association. So they're understanding that we're here, we're there, we're involved with it. As the past year or so, year plus, as summer C term was coming to morning formations, we had scholarship chair Mike Brown attending morning formations, making the announcements that the scholarship application process was open. Get out there, get the applications in. So those type of things are helping us increase that presence. And I can't tell you that the cooperation that we're seeing from the campus is fantastic. There's just the full understanding of some of the limitations that we have within our association and the offering of the college and staff members to step up and say, is there a way that we can help? Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. So case in point is what you're seeing here. We're going to get to our thank yous, but there's a slew of college individuals that we need to be thanking for helping get this out to you in a successful fashion.
Okay, the last question I have is, I'm not a member of the board, but still want to help. Do I have to be elected?
Okay, the answer there, the question for those that may not have heard is being involved with board activities, even though being involved with some of the activities, they're not on the board. Most definitely, yes, okay? We put that out there back in the early part of the year. The board of directors, we made that decision. Being involved in some of our various committees, you do not need to be on the board. We need to, there's too much work that needs to be done for the few that we have in our board of directors. So therefore, we need that influx of open-mindedness and individuals that can bring another perspective to things. So back then, we put that word out, and I think we got inundated with quite a few, and we had a couple of individuals that gravitated toward supporting some of our committees. The one that I mentioned previously, we have for her fellow classmates, Bridget Cooney is involved in our All Hands on Deck committee, doing a great job of staying involved with that and helping to guide appropriate response for our organization, so that we're making sure that we're looking at all sides of the prism to make sure that what we're doing is appropriate and heading in the right direction, and meeting the drive of inclusion and maintaining diverse thinking throughout.
Those are all the questions I got from email.
Okay, wonderful, great. I'm going to take a moment to talk briefly about the, if you will, the 800-pound gorilla, the whole social media, and interacting with some others. Everybody understands, as we are a 5013C, I don't get those numbers juxtaposed, organization. We are obligated to maintain all of our practices under various New York State law, our corporation under Delaware law. So that's where, you know, we have auditing processes for making sure that everything is proper. We're an employer. We have employees, Sarah Yu, Denise Tiernan, and Matt Bonvento. So we have all of these various obligations. We are out there on our social media, is all public, for everybody to see and what have you. There are there are several other media, social medias that are out there, be them just email type of media, be it through the Facebook social medias and what have you. Bringing people together, that's fantastic. That's great. We love when alumni are helping alumni. That is not a problem at all, and we think that that is fantastic. However, in those environments, unchecked, there are some wild cards where things kind of get off the rails, okay? And with that, we have obligations that we cannot be associated with with some of that type of behavior. And that's where we're at right now, okay? And that's where you see that we've brought into, a case in point, our All Hands on Deck committee, the aspects of diversity and inclusion. And we're working toward some training programs to ensure that all board members go through some diversity training at the beginning of each year to ensure that there's that good understanding, to ensure that we're being inclusive of all participants. It's a big thing. We need to make sure that we stay in that regard, okay? So some of the people that we're trying to work with, there are issues with some of these social medias. So we're trying our best to work with these entities and ensure that we maintain and we listen to them, and that we're driving toward improving the inclusion aspect of all the things that we do, removing any type of racial diversity, and ensuring that everybody gets an equal share at it all.
That's all I got for you.
So that's kind of finishing up our Q&A aspect of things. I really do hope that it was informative for you all. We did try our best to make the best out of this COVID situation. I just want to do a brief recap on things. Please remember at 2 o'clock, we do have the athletics department will be, yes, the athletics department will be presenting some games going on. So we want you to, there'll be some links for that coming up as well. So the link is right there in the Facebook page, okay? And with that, on the athletics department, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mike Birkin, the interim athletic director, Riley Demerol, as well as the rest of the coaching staff for helping out with that. As far as this event goes, right here, the list is endless for those to thank, but on the top, please let me thank Doug Hasbrook from the college. Fantastic job. Doug, we couldn't thank you enough. Lexi Rivera from the college, your support in helping us get everything together, fantastic. Our own, the Alumni Association, Kevin Danko, doing a great job of orchestrating, getting all of this timeline and everything together. Sarah Yu, doing a fantastic job right there. There's a host of others that I wish I could let you know, but everybody has done nothing but trying our best for you, the members. It's your association, not my association, not Cyrus, not theirs. It's your association. Please look at staying involved. That's all that we can do is ask you to please take a look at staying involved. Okay. We want to get this thing thriving. We want camaraderie. We want to be able to help each other. We want the networking aspects of putting people in contact with one another. There's no better feeling than knowing that you helped take somebody, get them employment, and move them along in their career. Take somebody maybe down, having some personal issues, what have you, and helping them out. But that's the camaraderie that we have. It's so unique to this organization. You know it, I know it. Let's just use it, all for the good of others. Thank you very much. We now go to trivia. We got a little bit of fun for you, so we're going to end on a high note. We have a